every game from here on out is big, right? You get to this time of year and you get to the position that we're in, every game's big. Every game is meaningful. Listen, we understand the playoff implications as a result of this game, but if you go in with that mindset every week, if you play with that same mindset, it's like you're getting ready for the Super Bowl every week. It's like you're getting ready for that big game, that meaningful game each week. So if you prepare that way, if you believe that in your heart, then when you step out there on Sunday, you know that you've done everything you can to put yourself in the best position to win. That's all you can do.
Hey, Drew, shut up. We're trying to play ping pong over here. I'd love to know who was playing ping pong. You could hear it in the background as Breeze was talking about the importance of this game. And this is a huge game. This is, in some respects, Big Cat, I think a bigger game in New Orleans on Sunday than Ravens 49ers last week, because this is for the 1 seed. You got the 10-2 49ers, the 10-2 Saints. Currently, the Saints are the 1 seed because the 49ers aren't even in first place in their own division. This is a hugely important game. And if the Saints are going to pull this one off, they need Breeze to play like the guy he used to be. He doesn't have that arm to get the ball down the field, and they've been talking about using Taysom Hill more. I think they want to get Taysom Hill out there to uncork some deep balls from time to time without creating the impression they're floating Drew Brees on an iceberg. But this is a real test because I think the 49ers are better than the Saints, and we may see that in very stark terms on Sunday.
I agree, Mike, and I especially agree with the Taysom Hill part. If the Saints want to win this game, I think they need to use Taysom Hill more than they have in the past, because the 49ers defense is that talented that if you can't stretch the field on them, they're going to just keep coming up and coming up and coming up, and Drew Brees is going to have a long Sunday if they don't at least have the threat that they can go deep and over the top on the 49ers.
Sean Payton said after last Thursday night's game, when Hill had a pair of touchdowns and a blocked punt, they probably should use him more. Kyle Shanahan, the coach of the 49ers, said earlier this week they are ready for it. They just don't know what it's going to look like. And that's the genius of Sean Payton. You never know what he's going to draw up. He will come up with plays during the walkthrough the night before the game. And Taysom Hill is good enough, and his players, for the most part, are flexible enough that they can adapt and they can incorporate, and they don't have to practice it 50 times in order to make it happen. And Hill's just a guy who has an incredible skill set. And you just got to get your best 11 guys on the field, right? It's that simple. He's one of your best 11 guys offensively, special teams, and maybe even defensively. Get him on the field more.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're Drew Brees, I know that there might be a little ego involved. I'm not sure, but, it's your team. It's been your team. It's your franchise, actually. It's, you own the city of New Orleans, so to speak. But if you're Drew Brees at this point of your career, you should hopefully take a step back and maybe check the ego at the door and say, hey, we want to win a Super Bowl. We want to get to a Super Bowl. If Taysom Hill throwing the ball 10 times a game and running it an extra 3 or 4 is going to get us there, then let's do that.
And I know Drew is intensely competitive, but at some point you have to be critical with yourself, and you have to recognize you're not throwing the ball like you used to. He's going to be 41 in a month and a few days. So if they do want to get to the Super Bowl, the job starts now, because whoever ends up with that 1 seed, if it's the Saints or the Seahawks, it's basically game over. Although, look, the Rams beat the Saints last year in the Superdome, but it's a hell of an advantage, right? If you're the 49ers, it's not like the 49ers have a great home field advantage, but I don't think they want to play in Seattle or New Orleans for a berth in the Super Bowl. The key is to avoid playing in 2 of the toughest spots to win on the road, and they get a chance to do it now. And, we talked about this last year when the Rams played at the Saints, and maybe this did help the Rams in the NFC Championship game, playing a game in that environment. So if you have to do it again in January, you'll be more prepared for it. And they're going to have to do it in Seattle. So if they have to do it in January, they'll be more prepared for it. So win or lose, the 49ers may benefit from the experience on Sunday and then what they have looming in Seattle at the end of the season.
Yeah, brutal schedule for the 49ers. You were like a dog chasing your tail in that. I think you just said that it's game over if they have to go to the Saints. Then you came all the way back around being the 49ers.
I caught my tail.
Yeah, you did.
I caught my tail. All right. Seahawks and the Rams play on Sunday night, NBC. A great game, a rematch of a game from 9 weeks and 1 day ago, which went right down to the wire. Thursday Night Football, an epic game, the missed field goal, the back and forth, the bad calls. I still remember we were complaining about Pete Carroll kicking the field goal on 4th and 1 in the first half, and they get together. Last night game ever at the Coliseum. Pete Carroll's last trip to the Coliseum. A lot of subplots there, but the bottom line is this. The Seahawks have to hold on to first place in the division. The Rams are fighting for their playoff lives. It's going to have a playoff feel to it, and it's hard to pick against the Seahawks because the brighter the lights, the more likely they just find a way to pull that horseshoe out of their rear end and come out of it with a victory.
Mike, ready for me to change your opinion? And as an aside, I don't want to say that I'm having a fantastic show, but I'm having a fantastic show and the Bears are back. But for whatever reason, Sean McVay has the Seahawks defense number. He has figured out Pete Carroll's defense. Mike, ready for this? The last 4 times these teams have played, the Rams have scored 29 points, 33 points, 36 points, and 42 points. So I'm taking the Rams here because I think they can have this defense with the Seahawks. I think it's also one of those situations where the Seahawks are coming off a Monday night victory, a fun game, short week. The Rams need this win. They're deep in the playoff hunt. So I'm taking the Seahawks here, the Rams. And the Rams, for whatever reason, their offense has been able to take the Seahawks defense behind the woodshed. You like that stat?
But here's the thing. The last time they played, Jadeveon Clowney wasn't playing the way he is now. Now, he's dealing with that core injury. He's going to need surgery after the season. They're trying to manage him. But the night that he had against the 49ers, if he's even close to that, Jared Goff's going to be looking out of his ear hole. And the other wild card in all of this, too, is Todd Gurley. He had a decent night when they played in Seattle. They've been using him more recently. But, the thing that they won't talk about is the knee. And he's fighting through a knee that is causing him problems. But, again, they never talk about it. It makes him upset. But I think that's part of it, too. Is he going to get a heavy workload, and is he going to be able to hold up? And if not, and if Clowney is able to play like he did a few weeks back, I think that offense is going to have a harder time than it's ever had against Seattle.
Mike, here's one more thing against Seattle. And I think the Seahawks, Russell Wilson's having an MVP season. I love watching him play. He's so good. He's top, 3 quarterback in the NFL. The Seahawks, if you look at what they've done this year, they haven't blown anyone out. The last time they beat a team by more than 1 score was the Cardinals in week 4. The Seahawks have 10 wins. The Rams have 7. And the Rams are only 3 points behind them in point differential. The Seahawks are plus 36 on the season. The Rams are plus 33. And then guess what? The 49ers in between them, plus 166. So the Seahawks seem like they have been winning a bunch of coin flip games that they could easily be 7-5 instead of 10-2. And so I think that this is one of those games where if you really dig into it, the Rams are going to give their best effort with their season on the line, and they're going to win this game on Sunday night.
What makes that point differential even more amazing is the fact that the Rams lost a game by 36, and they still are close to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Total point differential. I think as a practical matter, and I'm going to reserve the right to change my pick on Football Night in America for Football Night in America pick purposes only. I've already picked the Seahawks to win, but if the Lions upset the Vikings in the 1 o'clock window on Sunday, that's when the Rams really feel like the opportunity is there, right? Because that's when they can catch the Vikings for the 6th seed. And I don't think that the Lions are going to do it. We've moved on to that game now, though. The Vikings coming off of the short week, the emotional game in Seattle, coming back from the 17-point deficit, or at least trying to. The Vikings need to be focused in this one. The last time we saw them at home, they fell behind by 20 points to an inferior team. And for them, look, on paper, they should win the final 4 games of the season. Lions, Chargers, Packers, Bears. They should win all of those. 3 of them are at home. Whether or not they can do it, it all comes back down to Kirk Cousins. Can he deliver with the season on the line? And that stretch of the season being on the line begins Sunday, Big Cat.
Yeah, they will demolish the Lions because this is one of those situations where it just is such a bad matchup for the Lions. And remember the first time these guys played and Kirk Cousins was able, it felt like every other pass was 50 yards down the field. I think it's going to be something similar on Sunday when it comes to this game. And David Blau, who played admirably on Thanksgiving Day, I think we'll say. It's always tough, though, for guys who are, rookie guys who have been kind of thrust in this situation to then come back the next week, even though he's got a couple extra days of rest, and try to do it again. So I have the Vikings. I have the Vikings big in this game.
Yeah, I do too, but I look, they've fallen behind by 20 and 17 each of the last two games, and you can't keep doing that, especially when you're playing a team you should beat. Washington at Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers has been openly calling for the fans at Lambeau Field to get liquored up and loud. I think Aaron Rodgers knows that this one could go sideways. Washington has won 2 in a row. They've got nothing to lose. They're still alive in the division, for crying out loud. And I think the Packers, we've seen the Packers, they'll just have those moments where they slip. They get a little complacent. We saw it against the Chargers, and I think Aaron is concerned that his teammates may not be as dialed in because they assume they're just going to show up and roll Washington. And I think they will, but I can understand why he's concerned, because this is one of those, the way that Washington can run the ball with Darius Geis last week, well over 100 yards. Adrian Peterson had 99. That controls the clock, shortens the game, gives the offense of Green Bay fewer opportunities to make things happen. This is one, again, I think the Packers are going to win, but I'm not going to be surprised if Washington gives them a game. You know, it was 17-13 against the Giants last week until Rodgers made that great throw on 4th and 10, and the game started to open up. The Packers are an amazing story to me because they're 9-3, and they do not look like a 9-3 team.
No. Are you going to give me the thread the needle on a 13-point line? Are you going to thread the needle here?
No, I'm not. You're not going
to take the Redskins against the spread? I agree with everything you just said, by the way. I think the Redskins can keep this game close with the way they run the football. This is a big test for the Packers defense, because if they can't sell out to stop the run and be like, hey, Dwayne Haskins, go ahead and try to beat us, they have bigger problems than we all thought, because this is a game they should be able to win by a couple touchdowns.
You know, we did the power rankings earlier this week, and Sims asked the question, what is it going to take for the Bills to get out of the 9 spot? They get their opportunity to get into the top 5, maybe the top 4. They got the Ravens coming to town on Sunday. The Bills are 9-3, and it's kind of like a Packers-style 9-3, where, especially for the Bills, the schedule hasn't been all that difficult. But, you know, at home, you're going to have this is it. This is their moment. This is their chance. They're one game behind the Patriots. Isn't that amazing this late in the season that the Patriots haven't run away with the AFC East and they still have to play the Bills again? So I think the Ravens win this one, because I just think the Ravens are operating on a level higher than every other franchise right now in the NFL. But it won't surprise me if the Bills make it very interesting. And Big Cat, I'm fascinated by the possibility of a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen quarterback rivalry. We're looking for that next Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Why not these two?
Yeah, I agree. The Bills, by the way, they need a little more credit than you just gave them, because they have been good. And,
pandering.
Of course, their schedule. No, I'm not pandering, because here's my big thing. I know, obviously, the Patriots deserve, the history behind them. What they've done the last 2 decades has been unprecedented. But if you said to you, Mike, if I said to you right now, there's an AFC East team with a great defense, maybe a suspect offense that's beaten up on really bad opponents in their biggest games they've lost, would I be talking about the Bills or the Patriots? Because they look very similar in that respect.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I'm looking back at the season for the Bills. I mean, they were down 16-0 to the Jets week 1. They won by a point. Giants 28-14, who hasn't beaten them by 14. I mean, I'm looking at the games. I mean, they have not had difficult games. Now, they did win at Tennessee, which is impressive, but that was before they benched Marcus Mariota. I don't think they would win at Tennessee now. They beat the Dolphins by 10. They lost by 18 to the Eagles who are fighting for their life right now. So they lost to the Browns, for crying out loud. So I think that hey, they're 9-3. They deserve credit. They're going to be the 5 seed. They're on Sunday Night Football next week against the Steelers. First time on Sunday Night Football since 2007. They're fun to watch. What they did last week to the Cowboys was impressive. But then again, the Bears did the same thing last night. So how impressive is it, even though the Bears are back?
Wow, that was a ricochet shot right there. I'm just saying the Bills, I think, deserve a little bit more credit. This is going to be a fascinating game, though, because this is one of those games.
This is a chance. You want credit? This
Yes.
is it. Here comes the best team in the NFL into your building. You beat them, you'll get the respect that you want.
And on the flip side, Mike, if the Ravens come in and pummel the Bills, now we're talking historical, like, who can stop the Ravens? Because they've kind of, last week was a game that they won that was an ugly game. They absolutely killed the Rams. Now if they kill the Bills, you're saying they can win every single way.
Chiefs and Patriots late Sunday afternoon. And look, this felt like it was going to be an AFC Championship preview. I don't know what the AFC Championship's going to be at this point. It could be Ravens Texans again for all I know. But yeah, the Chiefs need this one. They still have an outside shot at a bye. The Patriots desperately need this. They don't want to lose 2 in a row. They don't want to be falling apart in December. This is when they're supposed to be figuring it out, Big Cat.
Mike, this one is a model pick. It's a system pick. The world is down on the Patriots. It's December. They're playing in Foxborough.
On to Cincinnati game. It's an on to Cincinnati game. The Chiefs were the original basis for the on to Cincinnati 5 years ago. Now they're going to get on to Cincinnati.
And next week, the Patriots play Cincinnati. So if they lose, Bill Belichick can bring that back out.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.